Hi everyone, I'm a former chronic insomniac of 20 years now turned sleep medicine specialist, and today I'm going to be reacting to Brian Johnson. Through my work with the MOD, NHS and countless clients, I'm going to share with you what works and what most certainly doesn't, so that you don't make the same mistakes I did. Let's go.
Hi friends, today I'm going to share with you 10 things that are going to change your life. I had poor sleep my entire life, and I just logged what is potentially the best sleep score in human history, 8 months of perfect sleep. Sleep is the most important thing a human does on a daily basis. I'm going to share with you what I did to achieve that perfect sleep score. They do not require $2 million a year, and I'm going to give them to you for free today. All right, what I've done to make this easy for you is I've listed out the 10 levels and 7 days of the week. So tape this on the bathroom mirror or in your bedroom and put a star by each day you accomplish a task. When you achieve level 10, send me a note and tell me you've become a professional sleeper. Now I know that sleep doesn't solve all things, but it helps me feel well enough and full of energy that I want to do everything else that's good for me. All right, number one is identify as a professional sleeper. Currently, grind culture is the dominant way of understanding sleep, which is you don't need a lot of it, and you're actually weak if you get it.
Money never sleeps, pal.
That's foolish. Don't do that.
And I'd say, grind culture, sleep when you're dead, isn't going to be helpful for your sleep. These are people who don't prioritize their sleep at all. So the people I help, people with insomnia, and this is where I think this video is going to not really align. They do everything to try and protect their sleep. They do everything to try and optimize their sleep, and it's just not helping because it just creates more obsession and control around their sleep. And I haven't watched this video before, but knowing Brian Johnson, I kind of know a lot of his advice is going to go down the route of being very controlling and not helpful for people with insomnia. So bear that in mind. At a guess, I think this is a video for people who already sleep pretty well, are just looking for advice to try and improve it. So if you're looking to him for advice for insomnia, well, let's see.
The wise thing to do is to make sleep your number one priority. You will feel better, you will look better, and everything in life will be easier. Level 2 is to have a consistent bedtime. This is really important because you're telling your body, we do sleep at this time every day. So you can make adjustments in your life.
A fixed bedtime is really unhelpful for your sleep, not just for people with insomnia, but for good sleepers as well. And here's why. You cannot tell the body when to sleep. The only thing that makes you sleep is your homeostatic sleep drive. So if you go to bed and lie down in a dark room where there's no stimulation and you're not sleepy, what you're probably going to do is lie there, be awake, start ruminating, overthinking, and this really isn't going to help with your sleep. So a much better idea is to wake up at the same time every single day to anchor your body clock and your sleep drive, and then you will probably find if you do that, you will feel sleepy at a similar time each night. But don't set your bedtime by your watch. Set your bedtime by anchoring your wake time. That's much better advice than setting a fixed bedtime.
Have dinner earlier, plan earlier, put it on your schedule. Think of this as your most important meeting of the day. When you show up to work on time or have meetings with your friends, if you're even 5 minutes late, you apologize. Don't disappoint yourself and show up on time. In my family, when bedtime arrives, Talmadge and I will stop whatever we're doing and run to our bedtimes. We do this tongue-in-cheek. It's funny because we're saying to each other, we respect bedtime in this family. We know we're going to be better family members with each other if we get our sleep. For my bedtime, I've chosen 8:30. I love the morning time, especially the 4 hours of time I have all by myself. No one's calling me, no one's messaging me. I have it all to myself, so I really like to go to bed at 8:30 and I have the morning wide open. That said, you do you. If you're a night owl and you prefer to go to bed later, that's okay. Just choose your bedtime and be consistent.
Yeah, that fixed wake time, that's the most unhelpful thing. Night owl, morning lark, really I see it as a circadian preference. Often people think they're a night owl, but actually if they start waking up early, they just start feeling sleepier early as well. So choose your wake time. You can choose it whatever time you want, and then you'll find that your sleep time when you feel sleepy will follow on from that point.
3 is have a wind down routine. I know from personal experience that when I go to bed and I'm thinking about the day's problems or some opportunity, anything that's on my mind, if my head hits a pillow all night long, I'll just think about it. So what I do now is sleep Brian enters the equation 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. And if an incoming thought says, oh, you should be worried about this, or you should think about that, Sleep Brian says, thank you for suggestion, sleep mode is now engaged. So I would encourage you, create a ritual, read a book, go for a walk, do some favorite hobby, but avoid screens and avoid anything that's going to get you aroused.
Yeah, I mean, that's good advice, not to do things that are going to make you hyper-aroused, because if you're asking the brain to be active and alert, you're asking it to be awake, and the brain will respond by releasing adrenaline and cortisol and block your sleepy feeling and that melatonin production. So yeah, not being overly aroused is very helpful. However, what I would say is that, no screens before bed. Good sleepers watch TV all the time and they don't catch on fire. So really his advice is for people wanting to improve their sleep. I would say that, yeah, just do something you find relaxing and enjoyable, but please don't get really ritualistic and obsessive, because this route leads down the route of insomnia, because people with insomnia have thousands of rituals they have to do before bed, one bus kiwi fruits, things they can't do. So yeah, his advice is for, normal sleepers. If you've got insomnia, things you enjoy, book, podcast, TV, absolutely fine. Don't get obsessive, don't get a laundry list.
Have fights, don't tackle hard problems, get ready for bed. All right, level 4 is to eat early. I know this because I tried hundreds of experiments with food types and eating times, and I found that I slept the best with blueprint food and my last meal of the day at 11 a.m. Now that may sound early to you, it is, but I got used to it. Now, this does not mean that you need to eat at 11 a.m. as well. What this means is it's an invitation for you to try to explore eating earlier and also trying to avoid big, heavy meals at the end of the day that could really be having a negative effect on your sleep. When I go out,
this is, I haven't actually seen, I've heard about this guy, but wow, he's intense. He's obviously a different breed. He's trying to live forever. Eating late, if you're metabolizing food, yes, it can have an impact on your sleep at night time, but please don't start thinking, well, that means I can never go out and eat late in a restaurant with my friends, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. Because that's the slippery slope to insomnia, or what is keeping you held in insomnia at the moment. You actually want to go back in the opposite direction and start doing the behaviors of a normal sleeper to get out of this. So yeah, again, I thought at the start of this video, this is not going to be for people with insomnia. And yeah, if you're looking at his advice and thinking it will fix insomnia, it's going to do the opposite. It's going to feed the obsession, the control, the fear, the anxiety around this condition. So,
for
11 a.m.
I will
eat later.
Something. Sometimes I try to find a light food like steamed vegetables or something like that, because having a plate in front of me with food makes everyone feel comfortable. If I don't have it, then everyone's like, why are you not eating? And it's a whole thing. So I really try to blend in to avoid creating chaos.
I don't think Brian can blend into the normal social settings. San Francisco, maybe, no offense to San Francisco people, but I think, yeah, very few people like him. He's doing him. Good stuff. I hope he does live forever. I mean, that would be quite an incredible achievement, but this isn't good advice for sleep. I mean,
social situations. All right, level 5 is hopefully an obvious one. You want to avoid stimulants or anything that's going to disrupt your sleep. That includes alcohol and caffeine. I know personally, if I drink any alcohol in the latter part of the day, my deep sleep is going to be about 80% less. It just decimates my sleep. So I now have no alcohol. Then, of course, caffeine. We metabolize caffeine at different speeds, but I've stopped all caffeine as well. It really has helped me improve my sleep. So just for you to consider, that these things may potentially be degrading your quality of sleep, and to be mindful of what you consume and when you consume it. Level 6.
Normal behaviors of a normal sleeper. I drink cups of tea, love my English, love my cup of tea, so I still get stuck in with that. Alcohol, yes, it is going to impact your sleep, but again, normal behaviors of a normal sleeper. If you're drinking a bottle of wine in order to try and make yourself sleep, this is the behavior of someone with insomnia. If now and again you visit the pub to have a nice social occasion with your friends, fantastic, get stuck in. You don't want to go too extreme one end with this condition, you don't want to go too extreme the other. Middle way is always the most helpful. So bear that in mind. It doesn't mean you have to stop drinking alcohol entirely. Just don't use it as a crutch to force sleep, because if you are, that's probably behaviors of someone with insomnia.
Regulate light in the evening. So a few things for you to keep in mind is I have an app on my computer, Flux, F-L-U-X. It eliminates blue light from the screen. 2 is if I'm watching a movie with friends, I'll put on a pair of blue light blocking glasses.
Sorbet?
Do you want a bite?
I'm on a diet.
American Psycho. That's the film he's watching. So that's an interesting choice.
My room is entirely blacked out with curtains, and if I'm traveling, I will wear a mask. And so you're trying to avoid light that is going to otherwise disrupt your sleep, and just be mindful. Probably the most important thing here is just try to eliminate screens in that downtime before bed.
Blue light, there's a study by the University of Manchester that showed that, people read from a paperback for 3 hours, and half the group read from an iPad for 3 hours. And they found that the group reading from a iPad for 3 hours took about 15 minutes longer to fall asleep than the people reading from a paperback. So no one's ever come to me said, I've got chronic insomnia because it takes me 15 minutes longer to fall asleep than my partner. So slight impact on your sleep, but I'd say if you've got rules, I can't watch TV, I can't do this, I can't do that, that's going to have a far greater impact on your sleep than blue light. So if you want to watch TV, I fall asleep in front of the TV all the time, get stuck in. Again, his advice is for people trying to tweak their sleep.
7 is to maintain an ideal temperature for your sleep. Now, I think Goldilocks got this right. Not too hot, not too cold. Of course, we can say specific numbers, but everyone's different. And so more important is, either it being too hot or too cold is going to create suboptimal sleep. And there's also considerations with a partner and other members in the family. So just be mindful that you don't want to be in either one of the extremes. So for my own personal temperature control, I use an 8 sleep mattress. And during my deep sleep, it's down to 71 Fahrenheit. And then during my REM, it's up to 73. Consider changing your thermostat or aircon settings, experimenting with different types of bedding, and opening doors for increased airflow. Level 8 is creating a peaceful sleep environment for you, for your family, for your children. Now, I have 3 kids. If I could travel back in time, I would sit everyone down and say, we are a sleep family. And here are the rules of how we do sleep. We go to bed on time. We never get up at night. We never wake anyone up unless we feel like our life is being threatened. You're doing them a favor, and you're setting them up with good habits that will endure throughout their life.
Yeah, but this is completely unrealistic. This level of control is completely unrealistic when it comes to sleep. And if you try to aim for this level of perfectionism, even if you're a good sleeper now, maybe for a bit it's going to improve your sleep. You then might get one poor night of sleep. Double down on your behaviors. I've got to do this, I've got to do this perfectly, I've got to data analyze, I've got to monitor, I can't have any noise. Then suddenly you're anxious, you're stressed, you're worried around your sleep. And now you've tripped down the rabbit hole of insomnia. So it's a slippery slope, and this kind of advice of optimizing, perfecting, really isn't helpful. Same with diet. What is a healthy diet? A healthy diet allows for cake and chocolates. As long as you eat reasonably well most of the time, you can have these little treats. When you get really controlled and restrictive around your food, that can lead to problems. So middle way, this is the way to sleep well. This is the way for good health, happiness, middle way, this kind of, and of course, Brian is a different breed of person, and he's on this real extreme. But for someone struggling with insomnia, and obviously this video is not created for them, this advice is going to backfire terribly. So please, if you've been using this advice to try and overcome a chronic sleep problem where you're terrified of the bed in the bedroom, really not going to help.
But also other things. One of my neighbors has barking dogs. So I called her, and she was more than willing to say, I understand your bedtime is at 8:30, so after 8:30, I will make sure they're in the home, in their kennels. Very considerate. So you can do things with neighbors, with partners, with friends. Don't feel shy in asking. Oftentimes it makes a better environment for everybody. Now, one more thing to mention is for my sleep environment, I do nothing in my bedroom except for sleep. I don't read in there, I don't watch movies, I don't hang out. It's for sleep, because I'm telling my body, when you get into this position, your objective is sleep. And if you're doing things all day, then your body can get confused. So it's really important to have a dedicated sleep environment. It will improve the quality of your sleep. And there's...
Yeah, so this is a common one with CBTI, but you should only sleep in your bed and your bedroom. Obviously, this is impractical for a lot of people who just have their bedroom. And I don't go as extreme with that. I kind of say, look, as long as you're calm, you're happy, you're relaxed in bed, fine to read, fine to listen to a podcast. I don't think, you need to go this real extreme where it's just, I do say don't work in bed, because then you're associating the bed and the bedroom with stress and anxiety. But reading the book and doing relaxing calm, you want to essentially be just as happy in bed awake as you are asleep, and that is really helpful to train that. And so I don't go as far as that.
One more thing, which may be a little bit controversial, is if you can sleep alone, you may want to consider it.
My wife said, no, not here, Buck.
It's pretty hard to synchronize the sleep routines and preferences of two people. And there can be a lot of wake events between the two. So if it's a possibility and you can have that conversation, you may want to strongly consider sleeping independently, because it may yield higher quality sleep for both of you.
Okay, and so
9.
This one here, it's when people have insomnia, they want to do everything to try and protect their sleep, and often you will sleep in a separate bed because you desire sleep so much, and so to have an elbow or someone softly snore and wake you up, it made so much effort to try to sleep, you feel you've lost it because of your partner. I would encourage often people that if they feel they want to sleep in the same bed as their partner, this is something often I will work on with people once I've got their sleep working for them again. And then I will work on the thing that causes a lot of people a lot of fear and anxiety, which is bed sharing. But once you find that, once you've got your body clock and your sleep drive working for you rather than against you, these things that create you a lot of fear and anxiety, bed sharing, eating late in restaurants, staying in hotels, suddenly you find that because you're more confident around your sleep, you've got your sleep confidence back, you're more willing to take these things on. You sleep in your bed with a partner, maybe you don't sleep so well, but you carry on the next day as if nothing happened. Eventually your sleep drive will be so strong, you have a great sleep next to your partner, and suddenly you prove to your brain, actually no, you can sleep in front of your partner, in bed with your partner, and this thing your brain was telling you actually isn't true. So exposure therapy, I use that a lot in my treatment, and avoiding doing all these things, not bed sharing, not hotels, not doing this, not doing that. Yeah, slippery slope towards insomnia. So yeah, yes, if your partner snores, but otherwise you might want to consider moving in the direction of resharing a bed with your partner if you've kind of drifted away once you've got your sleep back on track first. No pressure to do that, but yeah, that is possible.
Is light. The first thing I do in the morning, I wake up around 5:30 naturally every day, is I turn on 10,000 lux, and I do that for a few minutes. It tells my body, you're awake, the day's beginning. It helps with mood, it helps with energy, and again, it tells the body, we get up at this time and now we're up. It's so important to tell your body exactly when to go to bed and when to wake up, and you start having these compounded benefits as you repeat these behaviors continually. I think that's why, in large part, I was able to achieve an 8-month perfect sleep score, is I was able to tune my body so well that I knew exactly what to expect every single day. Now, if you don't wake up at 5 or 5:30, or you have a preference to go outside, please do so. The sunlight is great. I too enjoy the sunlight. Typically try to avoid the times of day between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. when the UV index is high, but the morning and the night are great times to get sunlight exposure.
Yeah, you know, it is great to get light first thing. It anchors your body clock. There was a study where they had people in caves and they found that, and they didn't have any watches, and they found that their circadian rhythm would move forward by about 17 minutes per day. So the best way to anchor your body clock is to wake up at the same time every single day and get bright light first thing. So natural or artificial. You know, a light box, if you live in countries, Norway, you know, where you don't get a lot of light, can be helpful. Most people just turning those lights on, get them nice and bright, can be incredibly helpful. And yeah, getting bright light first thing outside, exercising as soon as you wake up, fantastic for sleep.
Level 10 is gathering data. Now, I would have put this at number 1, but it does cost money, and I've been mindful of trying to put everything that's free ahead of it. The data has been the most important thing I've done. It's helped me create intuitions and knowledge about what improves my sleep and what worsens it. My main tool for tracking sleep is my Whoop band, which tracks how much sleep I got each night, the quality of that sleep, and how much I exerted myself each day. Just to put this in context, imagine you're training for a 1-mile race. You couldn't do it without a stopwatch. You couldn't just guess how fast you're running. Even though you can approximate your speed, you don't know if you're improving or not. So that's 10 things for you to become a professional sleeper. Do this.
So we have a saying in sleep medicine, the brain is not the wrist. These watches, these rings, they just monitor heartbeat and movement, which can vary from person to person. And often you can find that with people, they can have their watch tell them, oh, you only got half an hour of deep sleep last night. They can wake up feeling fine, and they've got this data telling them they slept poorly, and then they become anxious and stressed and worried and more controlling around their sleep, and it can actually backfire. So I say with people with insomnia to ditch the trackers because they don't give reliable data and they're not helpful for the vast majority of people. So yeah, you know, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Obviously, the advice he's given is for people that want to try and perfect their sleep. He's at a different kind of spectrum range here. So for people with insomnia, this kind of advice is not going to help you. It's just going to leave more control, more obsession. For people that want to just simply improve their sleep, I'm just going to give these basic pieces of advice. Wake up at the same time every single day. Give yourself enough sleep opportunity, but not too much. Go to bed when you're feeling sleepy. If you're in bed and you're feeling anxious, stressed, and annoyed about the fact you can't sleep, sit up in bed, put a podcast on, read a book, and basically just get stuck into your days again. Exercise during the day, get bright light first thing, and live your life like a normal sleeper. So this is how the vast majority of people can improve their sleep. Far simpler than what Brian Johnson is saying, and is going to lead to better results for most people. If you've got a chronic insomnia already, the horse is already bolted, then CBTI, cognitive behavioural therapy for insomnia, soft, gentle CBTI to take away the anxiety, obsession, the fear, the worry around your sleep, rebuild your sleep pattern and get you back to the same thought patterns and behaviours of a normal sleeper. This is the path you want to go down. Where are you going to find this advice? Of course, on my channel. You can also work with me one-to-one, and if you want 5 proven tips to overcome your insomnia from tonight, take a look at this video here. All right, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye bye.